Hello, welcome back to Deadly Effigy. I'm Luke Lago, and today I'm going to paint a boar beast. So a couple weeks back, when I was painting the bog monster, I was trying to come up with what to paint. And one of the ideas was a kind of pigman type thing. I hated the colors that I was using and, of course, moved on to other ideas. But that idea lingered, and I thought I should go ahead and try doing a better version of it. While I figure out how to get this started, why don't we get the paint colors up on the screen here?
Paint!
For the background and shadows, we'll need bright red, true navy, and burnt umber. And for the subject and highlights, will be nutmeg brown, golden sunset, bright red, and sunbeam. And of course, floating medium. I am kind of liking the shape here. I think I got the idea down all right, but let's stop and change everything. I don't like the way that this is set up. So let's paint over all this. I believe in experimenting while you're painting. Even if you have no ideas, just paint. I had almost no idea of what to paint a couple weeks back. And as I was noodling around trying to figure that out, I essentially got two paintings out of it. The idea that I have for this is that this character will be lit by a fire, meaning he'll have highlights that are bright yellow, and that will be the lightest part of the painting. I tend to do that in these fantasy paintings because, at least in these classical kind of fantasy paintings, they didn't have electric light, and if I were doing sci-fi, I would definitely try to go much more incandescently lit, probably more white. Here in the painting, I am using quite a bit more almost pure nutmeg brown here to try to get the forms figured out. I've been asked if I do any kind of sketching before I do a painting. I don't usually draw as a warm-up. I tend to do that here on the painting surface. Use the brushes and kind of sketch it out as I go. I have been painting for a very long time, so that just, I know that kind of works for me, but I think I should probably try out doing a sketch first. There's no harm in it at all, I don't think there is, but I worry that I'm going to get bored of it by the time I finally get to the painting process. I feel that this character is possibly attacking a group of people camping along like a road at night. The idea is bright highlights and dark shadows, which is called Tenebrism. And Tenebrism is kind of the bigger, meaner brother of Chiaroscuro. Which Chiaroscuro was bright highlights, dark shadows, but often there was more light in the piece altogether. There would be more framing of a light background behind the subject. In Tenebrism, it's like they're literally being lit by a spotlight or firelight or what have you. And that's what I'm going for in this one. But it has some touches of Chiaroscuro. Also, Chiaroscuro paintings to me seem to have a lot of areas where the shadow isn't real dark, but the detail in the painting still drops off. So it's like almost as if the shadows are thick like they have ambient light bouncing around inside the shadow, which is true. That's what your eyes see, and that tends to be a good way of capturing a lifelike rendering in your painting. And I'm just using, again, multiple layers of my floating medium. Oh, I was thinking about doing a mohawk on this guy, but he was getting a little too bebop from Ninja Turtles for me to continue with that. I'm building these layers with brush strokes of paint that is thinned with floating medium. The reason mostly that I use floating medium for these quote-unquote glazes is because if I were to try to use water, it would just run all over the place. And so essentially my medium is like a thick water. It also does help to blend and whatnot too. Water would not be ideal for that when using acrylics. Bit more of a close-up here. Trying to hit some more of these highlights and just bring them up slowly, because we want the light transition to be soft, but also very intense. So I'm using a lot of floating medium, a little bit of paint, and just going in, adding these details everywhere. Here on the tip of the nose, I added a bit more paint than floating medium, but that is going to be one of the brightest parts of the painting, so, and just continuing. These brush strokes, after you add and add and add and add, it just creates its own hierarchy of forms. It's magical, really, and probably why I love to paint such wrinkly, crazy creatures. And for once, I'm not doing a translucent ear. I'm doing an ear that's mostly in shadow, but still a pointy ear. If you were to take the darkest part of this painting in the shadow and put it next to black, you would see that it's really not that dark. Same as with the yellow, the tip of the nose there, and the eye, the highlight in the eye, will be the brightest parts of this painting when it's finished. Next to white, nowhere near that big of a tonal width between the darkest and the lightest. And I'm also going to harp back on edge highlighting and give a warning. Edge highlighting can be very awesome if you use it right, but it also can flatten your paintings out significantly and very quickly. So on that brow there, I'm being very careful. I do not want that to become one of those cardboard cutout looking edge highlights. Same with the top of the snout. But I think I'm safe because I've got the ear over there that's got plenty of depth. And I'm not going too bright on my highlights. Also was thinking about putting a septum piercing in this boar beast, but also was a little weary of that because, again, Bebop from the Ninja Turtles. I love Bebop, but I don't want this guy to be Bebop. Gotta add some fur, just the suggestion of fur. Maybe a little bit more shadow in the snout here. Maybe he's got a nasty scar of some kind. And where the chiaroscuro comes in is with the background there. I wanted to somewhat suggest there being smoke, or because he's being lit by fire here. I want that to be kind of called back to in the background a little bit with a bit of haze, bit of smoke. Trying to get the little bit of vein showing on the temple there. Another few final highlights here. Oop, gotta chew that ear up. Can't have a pristine ear on a beast. And again, the background. Doing the exact same thing. Glazes with just a bit of paint. Sometimes more, sometimes less. Let's sign it. Thank you all so much for watching. Comment, subscribe, share with your friends. Comment something that you would like to see me do. I may pick it. I recently got a suggestion for a sci-fi painting, and I'm working on that right now. And of course, after I signed it, I decided, I forgot the slobber. So here's a close-up on how I kind of do my slobber. I literally slobber it on there. When it dries, it looks like slobber. Here it is polyurethaned. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Keep on making weird stuff.